Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the next installment of this video series. Currently at Red House Lake here, just after sunrise. It was quite the torrential downpour on the way in this morning, which I was kind of excited to see because we've had nothing but just sunny skies and very little cloud cover, and it's kind of refreshing to see something different after the first 4 days or so. And I'll definitely take, conditions like these over what we've been dealing with over the past few days, especially since we got some fog kind of drifting around in the valleys and things like that. I've got the 600 on right now, just kind of taking some detail shots of the distant hills and the fog set between them, kind of add some nice separation. I might... There's a trail just over that way there. I might go hike that. Never hiked it before. It does go up a bit in elevation, so maybe that'll lend itself to a bit more fog, kind of like we had at Thunder Rocks that one morning. But it's just absolutely gorgeous out here. And it'd be nice if the sun would make an appearance, because I think the sun will come up from over there, and if it clears some clouds or hills, whatever's blocking it right now, it could add some incredible atmosphere and to the scene. But I think it's pretty good as is. I already took the standard postcard shot with the peninsula and stuff, just because I always have to every time I come here. Might grab some of these water ripples right there. Those bright thunderhead clouds kind of reflecting into the water there with the blue sky always looks nice. So, very calm morning here after the rain. And not quite sure where I'm going to head next, but I'll hopefully figure that out in the next few minutes. Great start to the day. I asked for rain. I wanted rain, and I finally got it, so I'll take it. Just waited out a pretty intense shower there for about maybe 10-15 minutes. The rain was coming down quite a bit. But luckily now it has subsided, at least for a little while. I can't really check the radar on this part of the lake. I can check it over there, but not over here. Still got the 600 on, just doing some detail stuff. That's one of the reasons why I like coming to this lake particularly, because of, especially in conditions like these post-rain, you usually get these ribbons of fog that kind of dance in the distant valleys and over the peaks of these hills, and sometimes like right around the near the top of the hills, not necessarily over the top, and they kind of just like wrap around it like a scarf almost, is the best way I could describe it. So it's really fun to put the 600 on and kind of just pick out little details and things that, emerge from the fog, kind of like those pines over there, and obviously you can work with the water and some of the reflections. And another thing that we've been watching here, there's been a couple of ospreys that have been flying around, and we even saw one dive into the water to actually catch a fish. It was pretty cool. We saw it happen twice, actually. The second one wasn't successful in catching some breakfast, but the first one was, and then a few other ospreys were chasing after him, trying to get a hold of his catch. So that was kind of cool to see. Don't have a lot of high expectations for the photos I'm going to take today. If anything, maybe just some simple detail shots, with the 600 millimeter on. And then I may go and check out, like I said earlier, a trail that's just on the other side of the lake from where we're at right now, and give that a gander, because it's been on my list for quite some time. Yeah, and it's just now as I'm standing here, there's a kind of a neat scene unfolding over there. As you can see, the fog and the various ridges of different hills that kind of stand out against the fog. And it kind of adds for separation too, because normally if the fog wasn't there, you kind of wouldn't be able to tell there's like peak valley, but with it there you can really see the separation quite nicely. Everything's all nice and lush and green after the rain too, so it'll be good to kind of get into the woods after this. All the bark will be wet, hopefully some creeks, if there are any, will be flowing pretty well, and maybe we'll check out the Bridal Falls after this also. So that's the plan. Let me try and show you guys what I have framed up here. I don't know if how well you guys can see that, but maybe I just show the actual photo there. You can kind of see just those pine trees over there, just this little box right there that I'm drawing with my fingers. The fog was a little heavier when I took this, so you couldn't really see anything in the background. Now you can see a little bit more, so I'm going to take another frame there actually. Being able to see just just some of the trees in the background, I think adds maybe a little bit to add some depth to the scene. I wanted to change my lenses earlier to the 200, but I really had no safe way to do that without potentially getting water in my camera, because there was these really cool striations that were going across the water when it was really raining hard. Not really sure what caused that, but it was really neat, and hopefully if it happens again, I'll have the right lens on. But yeah, great morning so far, I gotta say. Despite the rain, great morning. So we have moved on from Red House Lake and moved into the Bridal Falls trailhead yet again. I figured I'd take a chance today on this because of the misty, rainy conditions, and there actually is a little bit of fog lingering around here. It's not obviously like crazy blanket fog like we had a few days ago, but there's just enough of it in the atmosphere right now just to kind of soften the light a little bit. And it's making for some really great scenes, despite this being a mosquito prison right now. That's why I got the net on, because they are relentless. And makes it easier to focus when you got one of these on, so you're not constantly doing, this. But I was hoping the little bit of rain we got might have charged up the waterfall a little bit, but that's probably just wishful thinking. You probably need a couple days of good sustained rainfall. And I finally was able to revisit a composition that I think we shot the last time we were here in the morning back in April. And if you remember the video, the scene may look familiar here. Basically all these boulders and then all of these tree trunks coming up from the boulders. Just a moment ago the sun was peeking through, and again with that soft little bit of mist up in the canopy there, kind of softened the light a little bit and made it look really dreamy. And there was a little bit of light just shining right here on this stone that I placed right at the base of the image in the foreground, and I think it just looks really spectacular. And I'm glad I remembered that in the moment. I just saw the sun peeking through over here. I remembered to look behind me, and I'm glad I did, because it reminded me of that exact scene, which I haven't really done anything with beforehand because the conditions weren't that great. It was very flat light. Still early on, things weren't quite greened up like they are now. And again, that moss and the rain added with the polarizer, everything's nice and lush and contrasty. And I think it's going to turn out great. Hopes are high for that one, but we'll see. And then my other photo I have, Fallen, which I've shown probably a few times before. This is basically where you shoot that. I shoot it down there. But today I tried a altered version of that photo, including more of this here on the left. And I've done that in the past, but I think today it looks really good, especially because, again, we have a little bit of atmosphere. And I've never been in this spot with that kind of atmosphere. And the sun obviously peeking out a little bit, and it just makes a world of a difference compared to the last time we were here. And earlier I kind of kept thinking to myself, you know, with the location that I had planned for today, like coming to shoot at Red House Lake and then coming here, kind of like crutch areas, kind of like guilty pleasure areas, but you know, I figured I'm on vacation and might as well treat myself to something that's maybe a little easier and not as adventurous as some other places I could go. But I'm still glad that I decided to come out here. And the mosquitoes, thankfully, are kind of letting up. Maybe it's because I'm moving around, not sure. But I'm going to kind of venture down here into the creek a little bit. I got my muck boots on, so I might as well take advantage of that. And then we'll probably head back to the cabin and cook up a breakfast, because I am definitely working up an appetite, that's for sure. But I mean, just take a look at the surroundings here. Alrighty, we have actually made our way into some uncharted territory here at the Bridal Falls area. I always walk upstream here, but today I decided to walk downstream a little bit. And something funny just happened. Well, it wasn't really funny in the moment, but I had one of my extra batteries charging last night, and I never put it back in my bag. And I knew the battery I had in my camera wasn't fully charged, but I figured it might be enough to get me through the morning shoot. But I was wrong, and the battery died on me right as I had framed up probably one of my favorite compositions of the morning, I'd say. It's up there. And the conditions here are really good. Like, I don't ever see fog here, but there's been a pretty low-lying fog. And you can see it down that way. I don't know how well you guys can see it, but there's just a low-lying fog that is just sitting above Stoddard Creek right now. And it's adding just a nice touch of atmosphere to a lot of the photos. But obviously, of course, that's right when my camera battery decides to die. And we're about 20 minutes from the cabin. But luckily, my dad is a hero, and he was kind enough to run back to the cabin and grab it for me. So big shout out to him. He's my number one assistant. Couldn't do it without him. But yeah. And in the meantime, while I was forced to literally just sit and watch some beautiful dappled light and some fog roll in and out of the scene, I was actually able to work the composition and I think get it as best as it could possibly be. Now, I'm not still standing at the composition, but I might share that photo with you guys here on screen. Yeah, I started right at the base of the waterfall, and then I just kept moving forward, and kind of simplifying the composition to get it to look as good as it can. And I was able to play off a lot of diagonals and use fallen tree trunks as really powerful elements on the left and right third of the frame, while the creek kind of splits the photo diagonally down the center. I don't mean to toot my own horn, but I think it was a pretty good composition, and I'm actually pretty happy with it. It's something to keep in mind now for the fall. Is coming here in the fall is absolutely fantastic. All these boulders you see around you here, they tend to get absolutely blanketed with fall foliage as it starts to drop off the trees. and it just adds not only a layer of color in the canopy, obviously, but now scattered across the creek bed here. And yeah, it's absolutely magical here. The only downside is getting eaten by mosquitoes. Alright, so I'm back at that composition that I was telling you guys about, that I was able to workshop for about 30 minutes or so. And I'm going to cut over to video feed from this camera so you guys can get a better idea of what I'm talking about. Oh, little chipmunk just ran through the scene. And it's actually, I came back to re-photograph again because it's getting a bit more foggy down there, so just grabbing a few frames. And like I was mentioning earlier, I think this spot is going to look really, really good in the fall. Alright, so let's cut over to the video. Alright, so as you can see here, this is basically the composition, and it took me a little while to get to this point because I was much further back upstream behind the camera currently, and I saw these elements from afar, mainly being the, the strong diagonals in the background of that one fallen tree, and then eventually I saw this one here, and decided to move further to get another tree out of the way and get a bit closer to this really nice mossy fallen tree that looks like it's been down for quite some time. And then of course this large boulder here was kind of a no-brainer to put there, as it does anchor that left side of the frame. I think if it wasn't there, I think there'd be a little bit to be desired in that bottom corner if it was just, standard gravel and things like that. And then again, we have the creek cutting through here in that left third diagonally through the frame, which I think looks quite well, if I do say so myself. But yeah, that's pretty much the gist of it. So wanted to show you guys again kind of my thought process and why I framed this particular scene up the way that I did. Okay, so we have just wrapped up the morning shoot here at Bridal Falls, and now we are on our way back to the cabin in dire need of some food and a cold beverage. I think ought to do me good about now. It's not as hot as it was yesterday, but it's still pretty warm out. Very humid also. But I'm not sure what the evening has in store for me. Whatever happens, I will pick up the video then. So it's about 2:30 in the afternoon, and I'm just chilling here at the cabin. I've got a little time to kill before I gotta be anywhere. I've been busy transferring footage over there onto the laptop, transferring photos, whole ton of files from the past couple of days. Filled my first card up of the trip. That's 1,600 photos or something close to that, and a bunch of video footage for this video series. And yeah, I got some time to kill, like I said, so I'm gonna take my bike down the Quaker bike path in the opposite direction that I went last time. A few days ago, I took it down to Quaker Lake, and it goes the other direction, I believe, to the Bear Caves trailhead. I think they're going to extend it to Science Lake someday soon, which is going to be really exciting to be able to use that on future trips, future camping trips here in Allegany. So I'm just going to go ahead and take a little stroll. While there's some clouds overhead, a little bit of dappled light right now, but it's definitely a lot cooler than it has been in the past couple of days. So I'm just going to take advantage of the nice weather. Like I said, I got a little time, so I'm going to go on a little bike ride, and I'll bring you guys along with me. So we've reached the end of the bike path. Only took me about 20 minutes to get down here. And it goes right to the Taft, or Stony Taft cabin trail. It's a nice little ride and I get to enjoy this. Some downhill. Good evening, everybody. We are back here at Thunder Rocks for a little while before we head down to Science Lake to actually try for some fireflies. I think where I left the vlog off last night at Bear Caves. Yeah, actually, you know, after I turned the vlog off, we saw more fireflies down at the base of the trail on our hike down, and decided to try for some fireflies in there. Had a few decent compositions worked out, but the fireflies weren't really cooperating. But, you know, every night that I can, I might as well try for fireflies because I want more photos like that. It's a really unique thing in nature. And I only have one decent firefly photo, so I'd like to have at least one or two more to add to the portfolio. But it is, let's see what time it is here. It is 8:08. Sunsets at about 8:55 today. Like to be at Science Lake around Blue Hour for those fireflies. But in the meantime, we're just hanging out here at Thunder Rocks. Perfectly calm, perfectly still, not a breeze to be found. Just us, silence, and the occasional songbird. The veeries, hermit thrushes, ovenbirds maybe, and maybe some warblers. I'm not that good at identifying birds just on my own. But I think those are some of the birds that are calling out around here. The red-eyed vireo or the veery, one of those two, has a really cool sound. But I'm just going to go around with my viewer. I'm leaving my camera just over there because I'd rather not haul around the bag and the tripod, as it is still really warm, even in the evening right now. It's still humid. No breeze is good for photography, but it also makes it very hard to cool down, especially with the humidity. So I'm going to try to channel my inner Ben Horn using my viewer, try to photograph some rocks as good as he does, although I probably will fall short since I don't think anybody does it as good as he does, but I'll certainly try. So if I find anything interesting, I'll let you guys know, but if not, I'll probably see you guys down at Science Lake for some fireflies. Oh yeah, one other side note. Right as we got here, found this large plastic water bottle and a small Gatorade bottle. So on pickup duty yet again, much like yesterday. I don't get it, man. I don't get it. I have only managed to really find one new scene here. The one I was shooting earlier was one that I actually photographed back in the fall and decided to kind of workshop it a little bit. I think maybe I made it a little bit better. But the second scene I found, I'm actually kind of standing in the middle of. This is one of those ones I kind of just was walking around and my eyes kind of locked with it. Didn't really use the viewer at all for this one. But sometimes that's how it is. Sometimes I find things with a viewer, and then sometimes I feel like I force things with a viewer, and other times it just comes naturally with the eyes. So it's a pretty simple composition. We were only here for, well, a very short time, but that was the plan all along. Just want to make sure we arrive to Science Lake at the appropriate time so I can get everything locked in for potential fireflies. But yeah, it's always a pleasure to come up here. One thing I really like about this area is how small it is. It makes it just that much more manageable and less overwhelming to try to photograph. And also in that sense, I feel a little bit less pressure when it comes to trying to like find new ways to capture the area, because I feel very confident already with a lot of the stuff that I've produced from this small little area. So I guess that makes me feel a little less pressure to produce better work, and overall just a much easier time. I feel like I can go slower and end up taking better pictures because I'm not rushing myself or feel some sort of external pressure for whatever reason. Not that I feel that way in a lot of different areas, but it's just something I notice here. It's a very calm, peaceful area, and very easy to just lock in and, find some good scenes. We're going to Science Lake now, so we'll see you guys in a bit. Alright, so we are here at Science Lake. It is just after 9 o'clock. Blue hour will be starting in about 5 minutes or so, give or take. And I just got a comp framed up across the water. It's one that I shot yesterday, actually. I don't know how well you guys are going to be able to see this with how... yeah, that's probably pretty bad, but you get the gist. You get the gist. I'll put up like the basic composition on the screen, and hopefully we'll see some fireflies over there on the other bank. I mean, where we saw fireflies yesterday on the Bear Caves Trail, I'd imagine we'd see them across the lake into that woodland over there, as it seems like prime habitat. But if it's not, it's no big deal. A blue hour shot of this might look pretty cool. Those blues and those greens, all that leaf, the green foliage, and maybe a little bit of a reflection at the bottom if I choose to keep that. So, but if not, I think I got some pretty decent stuff over at Thunder Rocks. At least one good image that I think I can be proud of. And I think we're just gonna enjoy watching this family of geese over here as they now just get into the water. I've seen these two adults and two goslings here since the first day of the trip. So they've now just become a pivotal part of this this whole story. And there they are right there, two goslings and the two adults right there. They've been here since the first sunrise here of the trip. So yeah, they're a part of this trip now. So very cool. All right, so quick little update here. It's 9:34, and we're getting lots of fireflies, especially across the lake where I've got this composition set up for. I've got the intervalometer hooked up just to constantly keep taking 30-second exposures over and over again. And while the firefly dots are small, I'm thinking I can definitely blend them together to get a more dramatic effect, and really show off just how many fireflies are active just on this other side of Science Lake. So very happy about this. I think this is probably the most successful, fingers crossed, most successful firefly outing we've had the whole trip. And that means if this goes well, I won't have to try again tomorrow night, because I'd like to have a little campfire back at the cabin. Haven't done that yet so far this trip, so got to cross that off the list of things to do. But depending on how this goes, I'll show you guys the final image here whenever this video goes up. If you want to see it in full, which probably be better off seeing this image on a bigger screen, you can probably check it out on my website if I've remembered to put it up there. So that's going to do it for this episode. Thank you guys for joining me, and we'll see you tomorrow. So I actually never ended up going with the fireflies that I had captured later that evening It turns out a lot of the firefly trails were just too small, and even blending them all together, they're just mainly unnoticeable in the final image. So what I ended up doing was going back to some of my first test shots of this composition earlier in the evening, kind of right before we hit blue hour. Really soft light from the fading sunset, and I found this image right here, and it's almost perfectly split 50-50 with that really nice arrangement of trees on the distant bank, and of course that reflection to go along with it, which I really like. And one of the other things that really draws me to this photo is the little subtle streaks, little lines created in the surface of the water from that long exposure. I believe it was a 20-second long exposure. And I just really like this photo. It's a lot more simple, less complex than a firefly photo would have been, but I still really like it for all of the reasons I had mentioned before. So while I may not have come away with the image I was hoping to at the time, after a little bit of reflection and contemplation, I think this is the image that I'm most happy with from that night. With all that being said, this is going to do it for this episode. Stick around for the next one, which will be the 5th and final installment of this series, where we end things with a bang.